All right, everybody, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course, I do see that people are waiting over there, almost 100 people. By the way, Rick McCormack is now a monthly supporter over on Rumble. So thank you very much, Rick, for that. He has subscribed to the channel. He is now a supporter. We've got lots of news to cover today. The Trump immunity case, actually, that's a fairly big one. That's the one mainly trending in news. We've also got Actually, shit. I think I might have done this wrong a little bit. Give me a second. Just a second. I accidentally put the same link in twice. Whoops. We're going to be talking about Super Tuesday. Of course, that's only in a few days, March 5th specifically. So we're going to be talking about Super Tuesday, what the easily predicted results will be, but the fallout as well, because the fallout is much more interesting than the predictions, because we all know exactly what's going to happen in every single race on Super Tuesday, including in my home state of Vermont. So I will be going, of course, to the primary. I'll be taking a GOP ballot. I'll be voting for Trump because he's clearly the man for the job. And then I'll probably be doing a live stream in the evening of that day. In fact, let me check. That day, yeah, it's a weekday. So I will not do my normal live stream next Tuesday. I'll be doing the evening stream for Super Tuesday, just to make sure that people know that. We'll be looking at the polls. We've got a lot of late polls now, and it looks really, really bad for Joe Biden. We'll be going through all of those and much, much more. French police seize 72 guns in movie star Alain Delon's home. Alain Delon not authorized to have weapons, says local prosecutor. Yeah. In France, you have to have an authorization to own a gun, which is bullshit, in my opinion. Bitcoin is soaring. I've seen it myself. I hold Bitcoin. A disclaimer, not financial advice, anything that I happen to say about that particular news story. But I do hold Bitcoin. I can't remember exactly how much I have, but I gained about $3,500 the other day in net worth. So I was happy about that. And then we're going to talk about that zonky Willy Wonka bullshit, because everyone wants me to talk about it. Willy Wonka-inspired experience sparks outrage and online mockery after police called to event. It's pretty bad if you look at any of the footage or pictures from it. It's people are comparing it to the Fire Festival. I compare it more to DashCon. You remember when Tumblr, this what was it, 2014 or some shit like that? Tumblr tried to have like a festival or something, and it ended up devolving in the second day. It devolved into just being a ball pit that somebody pissed in at some point. And there's that famous footage from a troll that went to the event anyway and was laughing hysterically that the retards in the ball pit. This is what I can't remember exactly what the budget was. This is what your like $50,000 bought. A ball pit. Ha ha ha. Man, I thought that was great at the time. Yeah, I can't remember exactly how much DashCon costed. I remember that they went over budget, and then they, when the people were all assembled there, they were trying to get them to give more money. Like, oh, please, if we're going to get pizza, if you're actually going to eat, you're going to need to pony up, because that ball pit cost a lot of money. By the way, I'm in a very good mood today, very high energy. I've got a debate at 3 p.m. With Armand, actually, on BTR, Break the Rules podcast. And I made a video about that this morning. You can get the link there. Definitely show up, because he's going to be arguing in favor of Biden's accomplishments. I'm obviously arguing from the other end. I have a feeling that one's going to be lit. I don't know much about him, but I do know that he's defending Joe Biden. So necessarily, it's going to be a fucking fun debate. We're going to be having some fun. So we're going to need some clanking. I would ask everyone, though, if you do show up for that, please do not disrespect my opponent in the chat. I do realize that clankers are very good at mobilizing and will probably overrun any opponent that I happen to ever be up against. But I would prefer like tips and shit like that, or just clanking in the chat. Because the clankers accident when I was on there with Jessica Burbank, actually on Break the Rules, she started rambling about misogyny and then just clicked out. So, I didn't get a chance to follow through fully. Gorilla Grip. Yeah, no, I get the reference. Professional clankers only, says the Merv. Yes. So don't worry. It's not going to be difficult, I think, to debate the concept of Joe Biden's supposed accomplishments. It's pretty easy. Thomas Almy, no, you can't. Or you might be able to, but you might get banned for doing so. I will not repeat what he just said. It was the N-word. We try not to do that on this channel. I don't want no problems. I don't want no trouble. Although you could do the N-word show on BitChute or Rumble and nobody would care, apparently. So, caffeine obsessed. And then, in between this live stream and the debate, I've got to set up an entire new shelf and grow lamp, actually, that I got at Home Depot earlier, along with a bunch of peat pots and stuff. I got to start the peppers. What seeds do I have? I've got cucumbers, sage, cantaloupe, okra, tomatoes, and basil. That's the first batch. I'm going to be starting about 6 others. These are from Heritage Heirloom Seed Company, by the way. I'll be shouting them out later, along with all the other merch sponsors. The Emperor's Champion, watching leftoids losing their minds over the Trump SCOTUS thing is very entertaining. The sheer irony is next level. Yeah, we're going to talk about that first. Donald Trump's case, of course, for presidential immunity, going before the Supreme Court. They did decide to take the case up. Leftists are absolutely outraged right now. They are livid over this. Now, keep in mind, the case hasn't been decided. They have no clue what's going to actually happen within the arguments. They have no clue what the verdict will be by the Supreme Court. But they're angry just because they took up the case. Oh my God, how dare Donald Trump invoke exactly the same thing that every other president has been able to invoke, which is, hey, generally speaking, I'm immune to charges against myself, civil or criminal, that have to do with my dispensation of my duties as president of the United States. This has been a long-standing thing. Donald Trump is not the first one to invoke presidential immunity, by the way. It's been done before. They're livid not because the Supreme Court has sided with Trump, but because of the mere possibility that they end up siding with Trump. They're livid over it. I mean, the memes write themselves. I'm looking online or on legacy media, and these people are practically tearing off their clothes and putting on sackcloth and ashes because of the mere fact that the SCOTUS is even considering the case. And it's fucking crazy. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I'm like, okay, there's a possibility. It's remote, but it's possible that they side against Trump and they say that he's not immune to these charges. Well, then what's your problem? I mean, they have that purview. What's the issue? But they've gone crazy. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But SCOTUS will be considering the Trump immunity claims, which apparently the left didn't want them to actually do. I don't know why. Again, as usual, I'm hoping that they rule in a narrow sense. They should simply say that immunity applies in these individual cases and make up some goddamn reason why they do without extending it further. Much like with the case of ballot eligibility. Rule in favor of Trump, and it should be a 9-0 because it's cut and dry that he's eligible to run. But make sure that the basic premise is he has not been found guilty of insurrection, so the Insurrection Act does not apply situationally. You don't want to go further than that. You don't want a broad ruling because then some future president could escape charges or run for office when they actually have fomented rebellion or something like that. So I'm hoping that they will use their wisdom to do a narrow ruling. 487 Sean Tower. No, you are busy with election season. However, I am shocked. Not mention of C63 hate speech law in Canada offering $70,000 fine and life in prison. You can also be extradited for online hate speech. Sorry, no shitting. Well, good luck. I can say whatever I want, and Canada can't get me extradited because they don't have any jurisdiction here. Trudeau can suck my cock. Yeah. He's I'll do some hate speech about Trudeau on a New Tech exclusive tomorrow, maybe. But indeed, their law is retarded. Trudeau is retarded. He's basically an aging hobbit at this point. And he tries to be a tough guy, but anyone in this world could beat the shit out of him, basically. So yeah, I'll do some Canada law level hate speech tomorrow in a New Tech exclusive about that, maybe. Doomsday Machine. First stream I've caught in a while. Always fun to see a good stream. What makes you the most optimistic about this November? The polling that we're going to get into not long from now. Oh, there's a new round of it. Oh, it's good. It's better than any other polling actually for Donald Trump that I've seen, both on a national level and in the States. Mr. Repurpose says clank. Thank you. Next, we'll get into Super Tuesday. We'll talk about that. By the way, I may keep it a little bit brief. I had to go a little bit late today, and so I might keep it a little bit shorter than normal because I don't want to overlap with the quartering because, you know, he helped me out a lot with Fidium and stuff like that, and he asked me not to. And it's like one hand washes the other. Content creators got to get together and try to coordinate things. Also, I've got a shit ton of garden stuff to set up. It's going to take me a little while, probably a couple hours, and then I got my live stream. And trust me, I mean, my live debate. After that, I'm going to conk out. Once I get all this shit planted and debate the Biden worshiper, it's definitely time for a nap, I think. What is Super Tuesday, and why is it important? I would like to answer that question posed by Kostas Pitas. This year, it's not important at all. Super Tuesday means absolutely nothing because the results are a foregone conclusion. Joe Biden is going to win every state. Donald Trump is going to win every state. There is no question in my mind, 0% chance of any other possibility, unless in the next 5 days, one of them happens to fucking croak or something. Donald Trump will be nominee. Joe Biden will be nominee. The writing is on the wall. We already get this. I knew this before Iowa. As soon as Donald Trump threw his hat in the ring, he was guaranteed the nomination. Joe Biden, by being incumbent, was guaranteed the nomination, unless somebody really powerful stepped up, and you ended up with Marianne Williamson, basically. So that and Dean Phillips for what very little that's worth. And so nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. Super Tuesday is going to be a wash. I'm still going to live stream during it, mainly to laugh at Nikki Haley. The real big thing is that Nikki Haley, having not won a single state, is likely to drop out on that same night. So we'll be trying to pay attention to that. I'm hoping that I can go long enough for Nikki Haley to give her resignation because I'm going to guffaw at that. It's going to be funny, like a Chaz Garden level funny. On the Biden side, it'll be interesting to see third-party write-ins and things like that because Biden is running effectively unopposed. What kind of opposition rears its head against him anyway? Again, on Super Tuesday, first, early on in the day, I'm going to be going out. I'm going to be casting my ballot. I will be voting for Donald Trump. Fucking trust me. There's no possibility of voting for anyone else. Who the hell else is there to goddamn vote for? Myself? Yeah, I'm going to win the Republican primary in the state of Vermont. Although considering how few Republicans are in the state, yeah, probably mounting a local campaign, you might actually be able to do that. Somebody else can do it, though. I'm not interested. I'll be voting for Donald Trump, and then I'm going to come back and later on in the evening, of course, live stream. The differential will be what's important. What proportion do Trump and Biden win by? Because Biden doesn't have an opponent. I mean, Dean Phillips does exist, but he's not really an opponent. Trump has an opponent. He has Nikki Haley to grapple with. She's not an opponent in the sense of being electable or in the sense of being a threat to Donald Trump, gaining all of the delegates, et cetera, et cetera. That's not the problem. By the way, hi, Vermont Red Pill. Hello again. In that case, it's basically what's the differential? Because some of Haley's voters are core TDS, just like those uncommitted voters the other day in the Michigan primary. They've got Biden derangement syndrome. I would argue that definitely it's justified to have Biden derangement syndrome because he's done such a shitty job, but they are probably never Biden voters. They're more likely to go with RFK Jr. Some of them might even cross over and vote for Trump. Others will stay home. That's the name of the game for Super Tuesday. So we will be going live, of course, on the 5th. Will not have my main live stream that day. Next Tuesday is going to be lit. It's not going to be lit because we actually wonder what the fucking outcome is going to be. We already know that. It's going to be funny to see Haley's reaction. I expect, here, prediction, she's going to go sour grapes mode when she drops out. Inevitably, after that level of wash, she's not going to be able to justify remaining in the race. If she does, she is literally batshit. What'll happen is she'll say, well, I guess the Republican Party wasn't ready for a female candidate, or something like that. The Republican Party has really been corrupted into the party of Donald Trump. We've gotten away from... She'll clutch her pearls and do this with her head. We've gotten away from those lovely conservative values of such wonderful, upstanding people as Herbert Walker Bush and his son W, or something like that. Oh, it's gonna be fucking honey, fucking great. Stephen Nizek, Warwick Pressler, 2028 MAGA Party. Yeah, I would partner with Scott Pressler any day of the week. He's one of the winningest people in politics. He doesn't get half the recognition he deserves. Doomsday Machine. I heard on Timcast that Williamson might have unsuspended her campaign. If that's true, maybe the crystals are getting to her more than we thought. Yeah, I think that's true, actually, that she unsuspended. Reed Weber. I'm writing a book called The Art of Being Human. It's the 8 arts that enhance the human experience. The art of expansion, expression, vitality, resilience, connection, passion, logic, and discipline. Can I send you a copy? Yeah, DM me on Twitter. Absolutely. That'd be fun. Sounds like my kind of book. Webster's Wares. Actually, we've got a couple of others. Wait, just a sec. BWOO. Their problem is not that they will think they will definitely side with Trump, but that the case gets pushed past the election. They all admit this is blatant election interference. And do you think Trump will get the Illinois decision appealed in time? Yes. I don't trust the Supreme Court, but the same hand, they could have just upheld the lower court. Do you think they would take it? I think they'll strike it down. I think that he'll be on all the ballots, and that's not really in question. Webster's Wares. Good morning, clankers from Endicott, Washington, deep behind enemy lines. Get your custom Trump 2024 merch at websterswares.com and pre-order your Sticks merch March 15th at websterswares.com/sticks-wares. Yes, indeed. I'll be doing the merch shout-outs in a minute. Sir Thomas Drake got locked out of my Twitter account for congratulating the self-immolator on quitting smoking. Please follow at Sir Thomas Drake. Webster's Wares. As always, clankers get free shipping using code STICKS at checkout. Looking to do an election night giveaway. Details to come. Yeah, so let's shout out all of the various people who are partnered with this channel, who help it continue to run. We have pumpkinfirecrafts.us. That is now no longer just an eBay store, but its own standalone website. You can get bookmarks, you can get keychains, you can get belt chains, you can get spoons from them as well. Sticks, hex, and hammer material, and also they've got some other stuff. It's handmade, so it's a small family sort of thing, and I like it. I've got a lot of bookmarks. I need a lot of bookmarks, so I really thank them. BillTongUSA.com or AntonsUSA.com. That's AntonsUSA.com for your meat products. Yes, you can get Wagyu, you can get bison, which is my personal recommendation, Carbonaci, Angus. You can get Lynx, you can get it shredded, you can get a slab of meat if you want to. You can also get more Sticks merch there. We've got mugs, tumblers, and shirts as well. He is expanding, and to use code STICKS there as well for free shipping. wickedneedleembroidery.bigcartel.com, where you can get hats like this, actually. There are 2 different designs there. One has the logo centered and says Sticks Hex and Hammer. The other one, it's off-center like this. Still can't choose which one I like more. We've got heritageheirloomseedcompany.com. Of course, they do these survival buckets like this, and pretty soon they'll have soap available on one of their auxiliary sites. And let me tell you, I used the soap last night. It was much better than I could have even predicted. It doesn't just smell good. It doesn't just look good. It lathers nicely, which is kind of important. You know, you got to clean yourself. I was covered in pine pitch and shit. And then we have www.websterswares.com, where you can get all sorts of Trump merch, many other eclectic things, as well as /sticks-wares, again, as Webster pointed out there. And merch is coming soon in mid-March, roughly. So, yeah, we've got all sorts of stuff for sale. I never thought this would be my line of work, but I'm digging it. Let's see. Ryan McDonald, USA. 2023 and 24 showed me there's an AstroTurf in America first. Some people believe so. Indeed, my friend. Vermont Red Pill. Vermont needs you to run for something. You have the visibility. I ran as jokingly for governor and got 16 votes by making one YouTube video once. I don't really want to run for office, though. It's just like I don't want to waste my time in meetings and shit like that, fucking doing paperwork and shit. Palandoi, what is your opinion of Ron Paul compared to his son Rand? Many in my family thought he was boring when he ran, but he got my attention. I like them both. I think Rand is more pragmatic and Ron is more ideologically puristic. Let's see. We have Thizzle13, Sticks, first-time donation but long-time viewer. Cause I catch you live rarely, but want to give you what you deserve before you shut us from giving you more paid chats. Haha, like last time, but you kept giving us what we want. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, towards the end, I always have to say, please, no more super chats, because otherwise, I mean, I make more money, maybe, but at some point, I've got fucking a million other things to do. You wouldn't believe my schedule right now. Holy shit. King of Biltong. Good morning from Anton's in Roanoke, Texas. Free shipping for your Biltong using code STICKS on www.biltongusa.com and www.antonsusa.com. Thanks to David from Houston for dropping in. Merch price drop shortly. Clank. Excellent. Lots and lots of meat. Now we're going to look at some polls. Oh, yes, and I enjoyed seeing this when I opened RCP. Let's go through, shall we? These are from Bloomberg and Morning Consult. So Bloomberg, keep in mind, Mike Bloomberg dumped a bunch of money into the 2020 election. He hates Trump. He runs WAPO. WAPO is nothing but TDS from wall to wall on the politics page. These are their polls. But keep that in mind. Arizona, Trump v. Biden. Trump is at +6. Georgia, Trump is at +6. Michigan, Trump is at +2. Nevada, Trump is at +6. North Carolina, Trump is at +9. Pennsylvania, Trump is at +6. Wisconsin, Trump at +4. That's in the Trump v. Biden matchup. That's assuming that there are no other candidates. Oh, but it gets better because they also polled when those other candidates are included. Kennedy, West, and Stein. Let's see. Arizona +9. Georgia +7. Michigan +1. Nevada +7, North Carolina +10, Pennsylvania +9, by the way, and Wisconsin +6. Biden is not winning anywhere. He doesn't have a lead. At this point, it's basically 50-50 in Pennsylvania and everywhere else Donald Trump is winning. He does not have a lead in any of the competitive states. We had a poll the other day showing Trump might be up in Maine. We've had polling from New Hampshire and Virginia, although it's outdated, that showed a competitive race. I'm thinking that Trump might end up winning all 6 of the swing states that he won in 2016 and then tacking a state or 2 on, along with possibly winning in the general election the popular vote. I believe that that is indeed possible. You look at the approval for Joe Biden. We've got new polling for that as well. Current spread is -14.9. By the way, at this same time in his presidency, Biden's at 41% approval. Trump was at 46%. At the same time in his presidency. Obama was at 48 and Bush was approaching 50, actually. So again, we have Carter-esque levels of disapproval for the Joe Biden administration. I'm surprised he's even in the 40s. I'm surprised that he can find enough people that, I mean, I'm assuming that some of them are just, they would approve of him because they disapprove of Trump. Some of them will approve of him because he's a Democrat. And others, they're like, you know, they're in the upper middle class or above, so they don't have to pump their own gas and it's all good because they don't understand the economy shot or something like that. Biden's only 22 points ahead in California at the moment and 20 when you count in the other candidates. By the way, being unable to hit 60 in California when you're the Democratic candidate is not necessarily a good look. He's at 51% if you look at the matchup and it's not just a two-way. 51% in California. If Biden barely breaks 50 in the state of California, he's toast. He will lose. I mean, I'm looking at this polling. I could barely believe, and this is from Bloomberg. Again, this is a firm that is going to weight things in Biden's favor because they fucking hate Donald Trump. We all know this. Mike Bloomberg fucking hates him. It's not exactly a hidden secret or something like that. I have a feeling that this is going to be a crazy election. Stacy Walenta sent $1.99. No comment. Thank you very much. We have Wartooth88. What was your favorite GTA game? Vice City. Absolutely. And will you play the new 6th one if you have time? It's set in Vice City again, but maybe ruined by leftist devs. I would like to play it, but I don't have time to play video games. I'm too busy doing productive things. I've pretty much given up video gaming. Once in a great while, I'll play a little bit of Napoleon Total War or something like that. Send your faces. If Orange Man wins, will Crop Brandon pass an extensive list of draconian executive orders as revenge before his administrative end? He can try, but I mean, Trump can just strike him down with his own executive orders ending them, so it won't make any difference. Pavel, saw yesterday's stream this morning and wanted to tell you a fighting rifle needs a sling for retention and a light for PID. I recommend an Aimpoint T2 for an optic or something similar like an HS403. Thank you. Jane Doe, Swifties for Trump. BWOO, this is wrong, but when I saw that guy set himself ablaze, all I could think of was smells like soy tendies. God, Canada would love to extradite half of us. Yeah, good luck. Extradite a U.S. citizen? Going to be difficult. You going to black bag him or something? I don't think that there's enough muscle power in fucking Canada to black bag half a dozen Americans. Sorry, Canadians that are watching right now, but your country does not exactly have the reputation for being tough guys. Botusoi, hey Sticks, thanks for reality-based reporting and opinion. Hope you continue and prosper for it. May God bless you. Thank you very much for that. Always good to get a blessing. I may be apatheistic, but yeah, my hardline atheist days are over. Next news story. French police seize 72 guns in movie star Alain Delon's home. Alain Delon not authorized to have weapons, says local prosecutor. French police have seized 72 unlicensed firearms from the home of film star Alain Delon. Police have found more than 3,000 rounds of ammunition, oh God, and a shooting range in Delon's rural home in Duchy-Montcauban, some 135 kilometers, who cares, 84 miles for those of us in the civilized world, south of Paris, according to a report Tuesday by broadcaster France 24. Vive la France! Local prosecutor Jean Charigal has said that Delon did not have a permit to hold any of the guns. The 88-year-old actor played gun-toting gangsters in several of his most famous films, including Borsalino, 1970, and is credited with creating the Hollywood trope of the sharp, mysterious hitman in the 1967 film The Samurai. Yeah, be a fucking shame showing her breaking kneecaps backwards. Yeah. So this is a cool dude who like to have a Tommy gun and a silver screen and help give us things like Nick Valentine from Fallout and all of these other things, you know, the film noir sort of shit. And but he's not allowed to have any guns. And he's 88 fucking years old and had a stroke and he can barely stand and they're gunning for him, pun intended, by the way. Why don't you let him have his goddamn guns around him until he dies, and then you can do something about it. He's not going to go gunning people down when he's 88 and in a goddamn wheelchair. The French have a history, especially recently under Macron, of this kind of tyranny. Now, I don't believe that anyone should have to have permission to have a gun. I've got a number of them you see, including one here that I can't show you on a live stream, and I like having them around because they're my liberty teeth. But if you are going to have a system like that, can you at least, like, you've got an 88-year-old man in Port. He's good. His mind is going. He's remembering his silver screen, era in the 60s and 70s, being the Tommy gun gangsta. Why don't you let him have his guns around him until he fucking croaks? Okay, you want to reimburse the family and confiscate them afterwards? Okay, under French law, I guess, whatever. You're European. You do whatever you got to do. He's not going to shoot anyone. He's 88 goddamn years old and had a stroke. I just find it cruel. It's like, imagine your existence is taken away from you when you're, near the end of your life. I just find it cruel. I guess they're going to charge him with some crimes or some shit like that. In France, I wouldn't put it past him. Wartooth88, ever researched Carl Jung and synchronicity? Yes, to some extent, although I'm not hugely interested in Jung. The Emperor's Champion. Comrade Leader Trudeau will probably send moose and attack beavers and mounties armed with maple syrup and neo-pronouns to extradite us dissidents. Well, Vermont maple syrup kicks Canadian maple syrup's ass. They'll try to extradite me for saying that, maybe. Vermont Red Pill. Vermont Dem governor candidate is DEI. What do you think? I think it doesn't matter who our governor is because Phil Scott's a retard and the Democrats are all retards too, so... No, nothing changes other than the taxes rise a little faster. The one thing Phil Scott has actually done is stand in the way of tax increases solely to keep his job. Otherwise, he'd probably support him. We all know that. Cam2425IA, just cause, clank. Grade B, baby, I agree. That's all about that. The tourists would not understand. They always get that light grade A amber, Oh my God, it's so delicious on my pancakes. No, you need something darker and smokier than that. Yeah, property taxes are going to soar. Next news story, Bitcoin price prediction as BTC approaches all-time high, $100,000 possible in March. Disclaimer, of course, I'm reading from an article. I am not telling you where Bitcoin is going. Disclaimer also, I am invested with Bitcoin. I do have, well, I don't remember exactly how much it was the other day, but a significant amount of Bitcoin. It's enough to buy a nice car. The reason why is because I'm bullish on Bitcoin. For a while there, I was advised by people, you should sell that off. It's just a meme. Well, I held on to it, and now it's back roughly at the same level that it was before, or nearly so. It's hit a multi-year mark. It's still rising, and I predicted that. And the reason why was quite clear. Bitcoin did ride ahead of its overall value, but its overall value over time is going to, in my opinion, again, disclaimer, just my opinion, increase. The reason is its usability. It's being used by more and more banks. It's being used and invested in by more and more businesses. Some people use it more as transactional. Some people use it as a store of wealth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I will continue to hold my Bitcoin. And I believed that what would happen is you would see a lull because, reality hits in at some point. You see a lull, but then that lull, if I simply look at a line chart of Bitcoin's value over time, there are a couple of times in which it is overvalued. Right now, I believe it's still undervalued. And so I believe it's being buoyed up. So yeah, I've got a significant amount of Bitcoin, and I'm very, very happy about that fact that I decided to keep it instead of simply selling it off, because I think that was a good decision. Now, it'll go back down again at some point, then it'll rise up again at some point. That's sort of what things like that tend to do. It's more volatile than a fiat currency. It's also more useful in some ways. So I'm very, very bullish on Bitcoin still. I'm going to enjoy it. If it gets high enough at some point, I'll sell it off and, then I'll buy the things that I need if I have to. But I mean, if I had to, I have a little bit of a store of wealth there. And so I can buy groceries. Under Bidenomics, I guess that much Bitcoin will buy you a couple cans of beans or something at this point. Fiat currency sucks, but I mean, it's more usable in a day-to-day situation. I mean, if I go over to Grand Union or Walmart, they ain't accepting Bitcoin, just saying that. Thomas Elmy, hey, where's the chest hair? It's behind several shirts at the moment. Today, probably, by the way, the last frigid day of the year. We had a sprinkling of snow last night. It's about 25 degrees out. Tomorrow, build for about 40 and sunny. I'll be charcoaling again. And then it's up from there into the 50s. Yes, indeed. Spring is coming. Queen Shi Banumba 1. Give me some, my fellow Aquarius. Lol. Yeah, I'm keeping my Bitcoin. Deef, Bitcoin is a store of value, not currency. Well, it can be used in a transactional sense as well. So can other cryptos. It's both. That's why it's valuable. In my opinion, again, disclaimer, I'm not giving you financial advice. Jacob, I've seen pictures of you at my local church. Are you Jesus? No, I'm Judas Iscariot, actually. And then the final news story of the day, and this one is just for humor. It's not really newsworthy, but I had to talk about this because it's fucking funny as hell. Look at the pictures and the footage from this. The little kids all sad and shit like that. I know it's kind of sad on that end. Okay, little kids got disappointed and their day was ruined. I'm sure their family took them out to McDonald's or something afterwards, so I wouldn't worry too much. But this is just a goddamn fiasco. Willy Wonka inspired experience sparks outrage and online mockery after police were called to the event. Families attending a Willy Wonka inspired event in Glasgow, Scotland. Yeah, Willy Wonka in Glasgow, yeah. Were promised optical marvels and extraordinary props for a €35 or $44 ticket. But when they arrived, they found a sparsely decorated warehouse and were offered a quarter cup of lemonade or limeade when supplies ran out. I'm just going to read through. This is great. People there became so angry on Saturday that the police were called. Police Scotland confirmed to CNN. The event was canceled, and the story went viral on social media. There was a crowd of people outside, all furious, Paul Cannell, one of the actors hired to perform at the event, told CNN on Wednesday. I saw people shouting. The people running the event were crying. It was absolute chaos. There were people walking all over the set at this point. Control had been lost completely. Oh man, I would have loved to show up for that. It would have been so worth the money. I would pay double that just to see the chaos because, then you can live stream it on Facebook. Organizers, House of Illuminati said, yes, House of Illuminati, that's the event organizers. I wonder why they failed at their event. Today has been a stressful and frustrating day for many, and for that we are truly sorry. This was an event gone wrong, another post said. The House of Illuminati will not be holding any other event in the foreseeable future. Yeah, with a name like that, it was probably not a great idea. House of Illuminati had promoted the event with an extravagant website filled with fantastical images and long descriptions of an enchanted garden, imagination lab, and a twilight tunnel. The 15-page script Connell was given the day before said there were all these special effects, but when he asked the organizers for more info, they kept saying, don't worry about it, do whatever you want, we'll sort it out on the day. When he showed up the next day, however, the warehouse was still pretty much empty except for a few plastic mushrooms, far removed from what had been promoted. Jack Proctor and his family were among those attending the experience, and they arrived once the event had been open for a couple of hours, he told CNN on Wednesday. We were met by groups of families leaving the event looking utterly bewildered, he said. We were directed upstairs and arrived at a large makeshift prop gate saying factory. A partition blocked our view, but we could tell it wasn't going to be good. It was even worse than anticipated. It took Proctor and his family 3 minutes to see the entirety of the experience, for which he had paid a total of 95 euros, he added, and they left shortly afterwards as security were turning people away. 2 Oompa Loompas were handing out candy. Each kid got a jelly bean each and a lollipop, and adults were told not to touch the sweets. Videos posted on social media showed a figure in a cloak and mask emerging from behind a mirror, with children watching on sounding increasingly horrified. Almost every child who saw him ran off crying, Proctor said. And I'm just thinking, it's one of those things where at some point it's so bad that it's good. And it would be just such a confusing experience that it would almost be funny enough to have justified actually going. And so people were talking about that and saying, fucking fucked up and nobody knew what was going on. So people are comparing it to the Fire Festival. But the better comparison is DashCon. You remember, again, when Tumblr tried to do a convention there, they failed utterly. They had to bilk their guests out of more money. Everything was chaos. They didn't know what the fuck was going on. And in the end, on the last day, what did you get? A pissed-in ball pit. And literally nothing else. They had pizza the night before. I guess that was fun. And then some of them whored around probably and got AIDS. But other than that, it was literally a ball pit. I would love to get a retro DashCon shirt and wear that on a live stream. Joe, the government needs to do more to watch paranoid schizos. They're already implanting microscopic tracking chips in their skin and put cams everywhere they go. Ideas? I don't even know what you're referring to with that one. Endless Vertigo, FYI, Form 4 suppressor approvals are moving quickly right now. Buy your gun muffler now. I guess I have to. Thanks. Mungi, we talk about the differential in polls between 1620 and current. Have you looked at the methodology used? Could this explain some of the differential or not likely? Actually, if anything, the differential should be more in favor of Trump because a lot of these firms, they base their current methodology on turnout from the prior election. So they're oversampling Democrats right now when they're doing this polling, arguably. Because supposedly Biden got 81 million scoops of ice cream. Well, then naturally they're dragging their sample by half a point to a point. Well, some of these polls use that methodology. They're actually undersampling Trump. By the way, Vermont Red Pill, no, that is Roz Williams here. Roz Williams, Christian death, the only Christian death. I refuse to recognize the legitimacy of the band without him in it. Definitely contemporary to that period of time, though. Kind of similar music, actually. A little bit more depressive, though. He hanged himself, actually, in the end. He spent his last day, he was trying to get one of his, well, probably gay lovers, but friends, supposedly, to watch the video that he made, Pig, which I watched. I thought it was great. It's an artistic video. It's very abstract, avant-garde. And his friend sort of passed out, and then he killed himself. His friend left and he hanged himself. He left roses for his friends when they found his body, and he hanged himself. Interesting death. Interesting dude. Very poetic. He liked ancient Greek and Roman mythology and stuff like that. Lots of references to that in his music. Lord of the Ree. So I can't invite my friend Sadie N-word to watch the debate with me. Oh, well, she's a side hoe anyways. By the way, I do get the reference. Lilu 2, about time you see this 64-year-old woman appreciates you, not a boomer. Lol. Jay Downs, I'm banned on X. What is the next best way to contact you? How you're contacting me now, I guess. That's basically the only venue that I use. Other than business deals and stuff, I'll give out my email. I generally don't give it out for anything that's not business related, because otherwise it gets fucking cluttered. Butterswy, Bushnell is a sad case. Could have left the military in protest, spoken against the war, and applied some of that passion for the 1,000+ issues America has. Christ knows we need it. I weep for his family. Yeah, he should have done that. He should have quit in protest, just defected or something. I mean, it's his choice if he wants to burn himself alive. There are definitely less terrifying ways to go. Sigil Stones, you're saying I shouldn't spend money to go see the Harry Potter experience being put on in an abandoned mall by Mansion of Majestic 12 next week? It's probably worth it. If I went to an event like that and it was like a DashCon style thing, and it was just totally terrible, like not just kind of subpar, but really, really terrible, I'd have a great time because I'd be laughing and trolling the whole time I was there. K-Max McDonald, Sticks, is Rand Paul your natural pick for replacing Mitch McConnell? I cannot think of any others. Your view? Yes, absolutely. Joe, look up the Onion Schizophrenics on the tube. Onion Schizophrenics. I'll have to look that up later. Tarl thinks he's Nostradamus. No, because my predictions are actually on point. Nostradamus is more like a QAnon thing, using vague language in his quatrains. Although I would point out, as a plague doctor, he did have some success. And most people don't know this because we've gone through the news. Interesting piece of history. Did you know that Nostradamus was a plague doctor originally? That's before he got his start as a oracle or whatever the fuck you want to call him. And he dispensed pills for the plague that were like rosehip based. So they had a little bit of caffeine in them. It probably gave you a little bit of an upper. So maybe they were helpful in terms of keeping the morale up. But one of the things that he proposed was that the plague was caused, they thought, by miasmas, so bad air. And he said, well, there's all these swampy morasses around these towns and stuff. That's where the plague is coming from. Flood them with clean water and watch as the plague disappears. The irony is that though miasmatic theory was not true, and that's not where the plague came from, it did reduce the rodent population significantly because it got rid of the human refuse and waste in some of these swampy areas where they had poor drainage. So they dredged them out and they tried to drain them more. Well, it worked. They purged the contagion. The plague was, in some cases, stayed by Nostradamus. He was correct. And no, I don't do guesswork. It's more like I don't even need to make a prediction for Super Tuesday because we know who's going to win every race. He literally drained the swamp. Yeah, Nostradamus did that. And that was his remedy. And to an extent, it had an effect. You've got 90% less rodents. You're going to get a lot less fleas, and therefore the plague will spread more slowly. Sigil Stone, it's fun to charter an accountant and sail the wide accountant sea to find and explore the funds offshore and skirt the shoals of bankruptcy. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to, please no more super chats here. I'll go offline fairly shortly. Sir Thomas Drake, do you think Roz Williams was channeling the White Hood guy's burning passion in the song Romeo's Distress in the same way Aaron Bushnell set himself on fire? Actually, and that song, if you look up Romeo's Distress by Christian Death, you will see the end, the hard N is delivered there. He was very, very poetic in his delivery. And so sometimes his songs are not fully linear. And when he talks about dancing around in white robes and shit like that, it appears to be his punk way, and he was punk, although he was also goth, of ridiculing standard culture. Like when he talks about 2-day travel for a 2-day vacation and things like that. He's basically remarking upon modern society in suburbia and how vacuous it was. Roz Williams is a very intelligent dude. If I could bring one person back to the dead to eat dinner with, he would definitely be on the short list for guests. Sigilstone, it's Pambly Manly Insurance. We'll up your premium semi-annually. It's all tax deductible. We're fairly incorruptible. We're sailing on the wide accountant sea. Only real ones will get it. So yeah, I think I'm going to go offline And thank you, Christy Anderson, for saying that I'm amazing. I prefer to think of myself as just, yeah, I make content and shit. And I have a cool assortment of hats and biltong and crazy shit like that. Oh, Quinn Smith, G.G. Allen was cool. Yeah, you were born in the same state as me, by the way, New Hampshire. So, yeah, it must be something in the water. I like G.G. Allen. Some of his songs go a little bit beyond the edgy mode that I'm into, but like, you know, was it what the fuck was the name of that song? I Want to Piss on You and stuff like that. And he would, you know, jerk himself off on stage and poop and smear it all over himself and throw it in the crowd. Look up G.G. Allen concert sometime and you'll see some crazy shit, by the way. Holy God. He was definitely punk, though. In the end, he died as a punk, a true one. He didn't give a fuck. He would swallow whatever drugs he gave him. He fucking, you know, assaulted people on stage, smeared himself with his own shit. He was even taking laxatives towards the end to do it even more effectively. Died of a massive heroin overdose after wandering half naked through Boston and rambling at people and shouting and doing crazy shit. He didn't give a fuck. You got to give him that. Yeah, G.G. Allen was great. The thing is, he wouldn't want to be alive today. Don't want to play in no fucking 60s band, specifically the line that goes along with that. Yeah, he was a scumfuck, self-proclaimed. They had to remove his goddamn gravestone because people kept shitting on it, actually. Johnny Rotten qualifies, I guess, as the last true punk who's still alive. Fuck, Morrissey's more punk than the idiots like Green Day or something like that. Yeah, Johnny Rotten gets credit. He's pretty cool. And Morrissey, again, is not punk rock, but for some reason, if you look up that song, Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now, can anyone explain to me why Morrissey appears to have had a small bush stuffed into his front pocket? I mean, his back pocket, because I have no clue. He had a bush stuffed into his pocket or a branch or something like that, and it's never been made quite clear why that happened. I don't know. I have no clue. Sticks, can you ask Tulsi to call me? I think she's married. I don't think she's into any side hustles. She's not a Democrat anymore. You know, she's no longer into that. What about Robbie Rotten? Lol. Yeah, I don't know exactly why Morrissey had the bush in his back pocket. I thought about goddamn emailing. I mean, he's featured a couple of my videos actually on his own personal website, and I think he does that himself. So I guess he's aware of my content. I thought about emailing him and be like, hey, you remember back in the mid 1980s when you did that one show there and you had a bush sticking out of your fucking ass? Why? Was there a point to this? Was it a gag, or was it meant to be like a political statement? I don't know. Avril Lavigne is more punk than Green Day. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. How Soon Is Now? Yeah, lots of great songs. Fucking the Smiths are fucking great. Some people pretend not to like them for political reasons because Morrissey's more on the right wing of politics. But it's like, okay, it's the same thing as if I were to pretend not to like Annie Lennox simply because she's a leftoid. I'm not going to pretend that. I like Annie Lennox. I don't give a shit if she's on the far left. Anyways, I'm going to go offline now after rambling about Morrissey and G.G. Allen, etc. I thank you to all of the people who tuned in live. For some reason, the counter over on Rumble is going down to 0 despite people being back in there. I don't know what happened in Rumble. Anyway, I thank you to the nearly 4,000 people who tuned in live. I will be, of course, debating at 3 p.m. Again, go to Break the Rules on YouTube and make sure to wait for that because it's going to be funny. I'm going to debate Armand on Joe Biden's accomplishments. So I'm sure that we'll be bringing the fire. It'll be a good time had by all. And then after that, I'm just going to conk out for the evening because I'll have no more fucking energy whatsoever. That's about all.